Well, I think with the younger people, the Generation Y people, they are demanding to know who they're buying from. The Generation Y customer doesn't believe in advertising. They don't listen to advertising. Many of them have turned off their TV. And they're very concerned about the environment. And when they purchase a product, they want to know who the company is behind the product and how the product is made. And so if a company wants to stay in business in the future, a consumer goods company, they will have to do their carbon footprint. They will have to do their CSR reports, and they'll have to let the world know who they are, what they do with their profits, how their products are made, and whether there's any toxic materials. They'll have to be a completely open company. It'll be demanded by the consumer. In fact, Walmart last week announced that they're going to do that with every one of their products in their stores. So, when the world's largest company is saying that they're going to do this, the whole rest of the world has to do the same. Well, they'll be forced to. The consumer, you can make all the products in the world, but the consumer doesn't have to buy them. They can vote with their wallet and their credit card. Well, with a public company, it's usually top-down management, especially with Japanese companies. It's very top-down. And unless the CEO is committed to changing the company and to making it a green company, nothing will happen. So it depends on the CEO. And that's what happened with Walmart. The family that owns 40% of Walmart's stock decided that they want the company to be a green company. So they told the CEO, and the CEO said, I don't know what to do. So he spent a year educating himself. He traveled all over the world with NGOs, representatives of NGOs, and he educated himself on the global warming and the environmental crisis, and suddenly he became a convert. And then he drove the company to change. So unless that happens, it has to start with the CEO. And then it needs to become the job of everyone in the company, not the environmental desk over to the side. It has to be part of everyone's job. Because if you're a buyer, you have a lot of power. You can choose to buy from one good company, not buy from another one. You can choose to buy a product that doesn't have any toxic chemicals as opposed to another product that may be more popular. So you have a lot of power. So every single person in the company has the power to change the company. And he's empowered to tell the employees that every decision we make as a company, we make as if our stockholder was the planet. So we ask the question, is this decision the right decision for the planet or not? That's, most corporations have to answer to the stockholders, right? And we consider our stockholder to be the planet. It makes a big difference in how you run your company. In the States, all the gains we are making as a society in the States is made through civil disobedience and through civil democracy. If you look at a newspaper, the government hardly accomplishes anything. It's all NGOs and activists. They're the ones that created civil rights legislation. It wasn't the president. It was a black woman who refused to get off of a bus, a segregated bus. And it was, black children standing up in front of federal police who wouldn't allow them to go to white schools. They're the ones that make change in the United States. So people are not so afraid to scream and yell and break the law. But in Japan, it's much less aggressive. And but I think, we believe that when the law is wrong, when the government is doing something wrong, there should be civil disobedience. So that's the difference, I think, between the NGOs and the States. And also the NGOs in the States have a lot more money, because we know in the United States that the government is not going to do anything. So that's why there's 1 million NGOs in America, 1 million. And out of those, 30,000 are environmental NGOs. And so there's a history of philanthropy. Many people give 10% of their income to their church, or my wife and I give 50% of our salary to environmental causes, besides the 1% that we do through the company. So there's a whole history of philanthropy and charity in America, because we know the government doesn't work. In Japan and Europe, you can't even deduct a lot of your charitable giving from your income tax. Like in France, it's a maximum of $5,000. I don't know what it is in Japan, but it's also, there's a limit, a very small limit. So there's no history of this. South America, anyone who became rich in South America is probably a crook. So the idea of a rich person giving any money away in South America is unheard of. Well, I think the most positive message is to realize that each person has control over the future. And in fact, the damage that we're causing to the planet, and we're in the middle of the 6th great extinction, which means that by the middle of the century we're going to lose 70% of our large mammals and birds, and so who is the cause of this? Is it the government? Is it the corporations? It's us. We are the cause, because we're called consumers. And a consumer in the dictionary is one who uses up, who destroys. That's what a consumer is. And so it's like an alcoholic. He can never stop being an alcoholic until finally he admits that he is an alcoholic. And he can stand up in front of other people and say, I am an alcoholic and I want to change. So as consumers, we have to admit that each one of us is the problem. And once we decide that, then we can also work towards being the solution. But until we admit we're the problem, it's always, it's all those people in India having 10 children, or it's the corporations that are causing all the problems, or it's the oil companies. The oil companies exist because we're the ones using the oil. So we're the ones that have to change. Well, that was 10 minutes. Perfect. How many?